an action item, the Dover-Kent County MPO Boundary and Supplemental Agreement. You have any closures?
Yes, sir.
Recognize the Executive Director.
Yes, sir. Thanks. We have before the council, it's already been before the PAC and TAC. Both organizations are recommending that the final determination be approved. Let me give you just a few slides of the background information and reasons why it's before you today. You might recall that this is, of course, Kent County, and our main area is the whole of Kent County, to include some of the annexed areas of Smyrna, which go into Newcastle County, and annexed areas of Milford, which go into Sussex County. That is what's been typically our boundary for several years now. I want to just give you a quick background about how these MPO boundaries are established through agreements and also Census Bureau urban area designations. Talk a little bit about air conformity, which you're aware of because we just recently approved our air conformity determinations on 3 regionally significant projects. And what is the issue at hand? Ultimately, we're looking for approval that will change or clarify our MPO boundary definition, which will need to go up in front of Governor Carney for his signature, as well as the levy court president and also the mayor of Dover. We've had several agreements starting in 1992. In 1992, the Dover MPO was established primarily for the city of Dover. In 1995, the expansion of population changed the name to the Dover-Kent County MPO, which basically had the whole of Kent County to include those geographic areas for Smyrna and Milford that were outside of Kent County, i.e. annexed areas in Newcastle and annexed areas in Sussex County. And over the years, we've had multiple updates to these agreements, which address the differences in the Census Bureau and the population of Kent County. Those are formal agreements. They're typically signed by the governor, by the mayor of Dover, and also the president of levy court. Now, recently, I guess about 9 months ago, we finished what's called the air quality conformity analysis that talked about 3 regionally significant projects in Kent County. And with that, it said, here is our boundary, Kent County, which also includes parts of Smyrna and Milford, and we are in conformity with the 1997 Clean Air Standards. I'm not going to reiterate, you all been briefed on this, but suffice it to say, when this document got approved by the council, it went down to Federal Highways. Federal Highways looked at it and they noticed the boundary went into Newcastle and down into Sussex, and they said, whoa, whoa, whoa. If you're into Newcastle County, then you must comply with the 2008 ozone standard and the 2006 particulate matter 2.5 standard. So all your conformity determination under the 1997 ozone is not right. Or you can clarify that your boundary stops at the geographic boundary known as Kent County, and we don't take care of any kind of actions that go into Newcastle County. In short, that's what the issue was. And here's the root of it. You know that in the picture on the left, that's what Federal Highway shows. That purple line is the line, Duck Creek, Newcastle to the north, Kent County to the south. And even though the yellow area is the urbanized area showing from the 2010 census, and we are responsible for transportation activities that take place in those yellow areas, we have an agreement with WillMapCo. The WillMapCo helps us with the planning initiatives in those urbanized areas. And in fact, WillMapCo has done all the transportation planning, even in their most recent regional transportation plan that they adopted from Duck Creek north. So they've never really excluded Smyrna's annexed area, which is in Newcastle County, but suffice it to say, Federal Highway says that's your official boundary, not the boundary seen in the center slide, which has got that purple area. That is the annexed area of Smyrna. And since 1995, the Dover-Kent County MPO has been coordinating transportation actions and coordinating that with WillMapCo, those areas in the purple. And then the image to the right, that's what the EPA shows as non-attainment. The blue is Newcastle County for particulate matter 2.5, and then the 2008 ozone standard. Two different standards than our 1997 ozone standard. So what does that mean? If we don't change this boundary, according to Federal Highway staff, we will then be considered non-conformity with the 2008 ozone and the 2006 particulate matter 2.5, which means our recent $35,000 air conformity determination for the 3 regionally significant projects would be null and void. But more importantly, what it means is that all of Kent County would be considered non-attainment. It would have secondary and tertiary effects that are just unfathomable. I'm sure Mr. Boyd could probably elaborate on that. But the way to resolve this is to get back and update our 1995 agreement that says our boundary is really the whole of Kent County. So on the right shows you what the agreement's basically going to say. We have four items in that agreement, and it's going to say pretty much that Duck Creek is the boundary, the northern boundary of Kent County, and those areas that Smyrna has annexed into Newcastle County, they'll have to coordinate that with Wilmapco. And interesting, we found out that Clayton is also annexed area in the Newcastle County. So the 95 agreement would have to be updated anyway, because the 95 agreement never mentioned Clayton. It only mentioned Smyrna and Milford. The area in red is the urbanized area, part of the Dover-Kent County urbanized area, but we already have an agreement signed by Wilmapco, and it's been updated, so we're in compliance with that, and so we don't need to change anything there. But we need to get the governor, the president of Levy Court, and also the mayor of Dover to agree that our boundary for our MPO will be the whole of Kent County. It also means that Milford will have to coordinate their actions with DelDOT, which they do right now. They're going into Sussex County. It just means that some extra coordination, but we have a pretty good relationship with Wilmapco, and Nate could probably elaborate on our relationship with DelDOT. In the end, we're looking to have a recommendation for our MPO council, you all, to agree that supplemental agreement number 5 will be approved, and that we can process that for signature for the city of Dover mayor, the Kent County Levy Corps president, and the governor of Delaware to sign. And that's pretty much where we are.
Any members of council have questions?
Question, just to reiterate, the boundaries for our planning region or district at the north would be Duck Creek,
Yes.
center line, and along the south would be the Muspellian
Yes.
center line. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Any other questions? It's the pleasure of council.
Can I make just one comment?
Yes, sir.
Part of that, what triggers this is just its definitions, and that area fits into that Philadelphia greater than 1 million population. So Kent County's part of that, or not Kent County, Newcastle County's part of that. And by us spilling into it in Kent County, or as the MPO, then a little bit infects the whole. That's maybe a way to say it. And so by having a little bit of the MPO boundary into Kent County or Newcastle County throws us into that definition. So it's kind of one of those things that, it makes sense when you make the regulation, but when the regulation comes down to be applied, sometimes it doesn't make as much sense. So just a little bit of, I don't know if that helps clarify it or not. It seems like a pain in the neck, but
Just for a few
Yeah, what we
months.
don't want to have is this, is this body required to do additional air quality analysis?
exactly,
So-
exactly. And it really doesn't make sense for the rest of Kent County.
So it makes it more, the bigger concern is how we spill into Newcastle County than what we spill into Sussex County.
Yep.
But the reason I think that, again, I'm recommending that we stay at our natural boundary, Kent County as a whole, is because Sussex County right now, with the next population census that's going to come out, they might be greater chance on becoming in non-compliance with the Clean Air Act, then Kent County, we might be back here all over again. So let's just keep the boundary, the natural boundary, and we'll work with DelDOT, who's currently in charge of the Sussex County eastern border, and anything on the west side would be the Salisbury-Wycomico MPO, and we work well with them as well. So,
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the recommendations made by the executive director.
Make a motion.
It's moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.